G'day guys, welcome back to the channel where today we're going to be taking a deep look at the force feedback in Forza Motorsport 7. The car we're going to be driving is my replica of my real car, the S13. Obviously my real car doesn't have this much power, but it does have pretty similar setup all round, similar sort of size wheels and tyres, and also coilover suspension. We're going to be doing these tests on Maple Valley short circuit, just because we've got some nice long curved corners that we can do some nice tests on. The assist we're going to be using today is pretty much everything turned off. So if we jump in here and have a quick look, simulation steering with everything else turned off, and I'll give you a quick look at my wheel options as well. And because this video we're mainly going to be focused on the aligning torque of the force feedback, we've got our settings tuned to really amplify the aligning torque settings. So our force feedback scale is 100, force feedback understeer is as low as it goes, because basically this will increase the aligning torque from mechanical trail, and same for the force feedback minimum force. So we should have pretty high centering forces coming from the aligning feedback, which should be coming from the physics. So that pretty much covers that. Yeah, now we're just going to jump straight on track. As you can see in the bottom left, we've got my ampermeter on my wheel, which will give you a rough indication of how much force is being applied. And we've also got the Gmeter, and we're also looking at the telemetry so we can see all the data. Now the horizontal lines coming from the front tyres is the lateral force that's being applied to them. So this is pretty much exactly where the aligning torque will be coming from. And as you can see, as the line moves, force is applied to the wheel. The greater the magnitude, the higher the force. And so we're just going to drive around a little bit here, and you can see the forces at work. And obviously the forces work a lot better than what they do in previous games. I'm about to highlight one of the issues right here. If we keep an eye on the load on the front right hand tyre, the load has now changed direction, and if you have a look at both tyres, we have a conflicting load. Now this is because of the Ackerman steering geometry, which allows the inside wheel to turn at a greater angle than the outside wheel. So it's not a bug in the physics or anything like that, but the angle of the forces here does seem a bit excessive. So I'm wondering if this could be the cause of the issue that I'm about to show, or if it's just a balance of the forces not being calculated from the loaded tyre properly. As you can see, I'm not holding the wheel, and it took quite a significant amount of time before the wheel responded to the change in direction. And using simulation steering, this feedback is very, very important, because if the wheel doesn't change according to the aligning forces, then we're really going to have very little control over the car, because we can't feel what it's doing. Do the same test again, and if you keep an eye on the front right tyre again when we transition to the second transition, as you can see, I'm barely holding the wheel. The force has changed direction, and the wheel is quite slow to respond, which causes the car to completely loop around. Alright, and in this next test we're just going to pull the handbrake on. Again, if we keep an eye on the front left wheel, the force has now changed direction, but it takes quite a long time before the wheel actually responds and starts moving, which again causes the car to spin out. So this for me is where the force feedback is kind of letting us down a little bit, because at these moments where you need the force feedback to feel really connected with the car, where the car is just starting to rotate and already spin out before the wheel even responds with a counter steering force. So to me, there's something either wrong with the way the aligning torque is being calculated from the mechanical trail, and the balance between the loaded tyre and the unloaded tyre, or there is something wrong with the Ackerman geometry. And judging by the angles we saw on the differentiating forces, it looks like the Ackerman steering geometry might be severely exaggerated but we need Aaron from turn 10 to have a look at this for us. We put it back on normal steering, just so you can see the issue is still the same on normal steering, just because the physics seem to be slowed down a lot and the car doesn't weight shift as fast. We can see the wheel has a little bit more time to keep up with what's happening. But as you can see, even on normal steering, the force feedback just doesn't seem to be able to keep up with the aligning forces coming from the physics. For now, normal steering seems to be the preferred method of input, just because the weight transfers seem to happen much slower, so we have much more time to react to what's happening, and it feels a lot more realistic at the moment, but it's still not quite there in my opinion. The force feedback still needs a little bit more work just to get us that really connected feeling where the wheel feels like it's actually part of the car that you're driving. So hopefully the guys from turn 10 can have a look into this information and hopefully get us some really good results and improvements. That's going to wrap up the video. Thanks for watching, leave a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe for more. Cheers.